the philosopher who bridged rational thought and mystical experience. John of Damascus, c. 675–749, stands as one of the great synthesizers of early Christian thought. Living at a time of deep intellectual transformation, he brought together Greek philosophy, Christian theology, and mystical tradition into a luminous vision of the human soul. John is most famous for defending the use of sacred images, but his deeper contribution lies in his teaching about the divine energies, the ways God acts, radiates, and illuminates creation. He insisted that while God's essence remains utterly unknowable, his energies flow continuously into the world, sustaining every moment of existence. And the human mind, when purified and awakened, can participate in these energies. This means consciousness is not isolated or self-generated. It is a receptive mirror capable of reflecting divine radiance. John of Damascus offers a metaphysical framework where intelligence, perception, and spiritual insight are all forms of divine light passing through the soul. In this video, we explore how John's vision reveals consciousness as a bridge between the human and the infinite. Essence and energies, God beyond being, yet present in all things. For John of Damascus, the most important distinction in theology is between God's essence and God's energies. The essence of God, the inner, absolute nature, is beyond comprehension, beyond concept, beyond being. No mind, not even an angelic one, can grasp the essence. But God's energies are different. They are the rays of divine action that permeate creation. These energies give life, sustain existence, and illuminate the soul. John used the metaphor of the sun. We cannot touch the core of the sun without being consumed, but we feel its warmth and see its light. In this way, God is both utterly transcendent and intimately immanent. The divine energies fill every corner of reality, the breath we inhale, the insight we awaken to, the presence we feel in silence. Consciousness is able to encounter God not by understanding his essence, but by receiving his uncreated energies, which flow like light through the mind. The human mind as a vessel of divine illumination. John believed that the human mind, nous, is uniquely designed to receive and reflect divine energies. It is not merely an intellectual faculty, but the deepest center of consciousness, the eye of the soul. When purified through contemplation, love, humility, and stillness, the mind becomes transparent, capable of perceiving reality through God's light, rather than through fragmented human perception. This is not imagination or emotional uplift. It is an ontological transformation. The mind participates in divine radiance the way a window participates in sunlight. Spiritual knowledge, for John, is not acquired through logical argument alone, but through illumination, the direct experience of God's energies shaping awareness from within. In this view, consciousness is not an isolated fire burning in the brain. It is a lamp that shines only when the divine light fills it. Reason and contemplation cooperate to open the soul to the influx of divine energy, making the human mind a living mirror of the infinite. The soul's ascent, from image to likeness. For John of Damascus, the human soul is created in the image of God, meaning it possesses the faculties of reason, freedom, and love. But the spiritual journey is to become the likeness of God, a process of transformation where the soul grows radiant with divine energies. This ascent is not escape from the world, but the purification of consciousness from distraction, confusion, and ego-centered perception. John taught that as we cultivate virtue, compassion, clarity, humility, and devotion, the divine energies become more active within us. Life becomes a movement from fragmentation toward wholeness, from mere awareness toward luminous insight. Human consciousness awakens to its true nature, a vessel continually filled by the presence of God. In this ascent, prayer becomes communion, thought becomes contemplation, and awareness becomes a participation in divine life. This is not union with God's essence, which remains beyond all, but union with His energies which transform the soul from within. The divine energies as the structure of reality. John of Damascus saw divine energies not only as spiritual illumination, but as the very fabric of creation. In his view, every law of nature, every process of life, every moment of consciousness is sustained by God's energetic presence. Reality is not autonomous. It is permeated by uncreated energy, God continually willing the world into being. This means that the cosmos is not a mechanical system fixed by impersonal forces. It is a living, dynamic expression of divine activity. Even time and movement for John unfold within God's sustaining action. Consciousness, therefore, is not a separate domain, but a sympathetic resonance with the energetic structure of the universe. When the human mind perceives truth, it resonates with the divine reason that holds creation in harmony. When the heart awakens to love, it resonates with God's own loving will. John's metaphysics reveals a world in which everything, from the spin of an electron to the stirring of a soul, is immersed in a vast ocean of divine energy. The mind of God reflected in the mind of humanity. In John of Damascus's vision, there is a profound reciprocity between God and the human soul. We cannot know God's essence, but we can know God's energies. And these energies reshape us into beings who reflect divine attributes. This creates a mystical anthropology. The human being is the meeting point between visible and invisible worlds, finite and infinite reality. Our consciousness is the threshold where God's energies become self-aware through a creature. When we think, love, understand, or create, we echo the divine energies active within us. The universe becomes a cathedral of meaning. The soul becomes a sanctuary of divine light. This perspective transforms spiritual practice into something cosmic. Prayer, meditation, and contemplation are not mere rituals. They are ways of aligning consciousness with the living energies of God. Through this alignment, the human mind becomes a prism refracting divine light into the world, illuminating existence with wisdom, compassion, and presence. I see messages all the time in the comments section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So, if you could do me a favor and double-check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the simple, it's the free thing that anybody that watches this show can do to help us here to keep everything going. So please double-check if you've subscribed, and thank you so much, because in a strange way, you are part of our history and you are on this journey with us, and I really appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you for being here.